welcome. I am back. So yeah, I'm back. I had a few requests after the back of my self-portrait vlogs. If you've seen them, just go watch them. And yeah, a few people suggested that I put together a kind of review about my lenses that I use, and I thought, why not? That's a really good idea. So thank you for those folk who suggested it. And to kick it off, I'm gonna start off with reviewing my favorite lens, absolute favorite, which is a 56mm. So I absolutely love this lens, like absolutely, hands down would pick this one. If you told me to pick a lens that I could shoot with for the rest of my life, it would be this lens. And I'll go into why in a minute, but here are a few pictures that I've got with this lens, and it'll give you an idea of why I love this lens so much. So here they are.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight.
Okay, so my first reason for loving this lens is the versatility of this lens. Now, I got this lens when I first started out photography, which is just about 2 years ago-ish. And I had this lens for probably a year and a half of that. I didn't buy another lens because I love it. It is so good and so transferable between like landscape, portrait, buildings, you name it. It's such a good lens and you can use it for absolutely everything. And I will give you some samples if I've not shown you some already, but the versatility of this lens is just amazing. You can literally take it anywhere with you. The only con to it is that I wouldn't recommend it for tight spaces inside. That's its limitation, is tight spaces. But apart from that, it is amazing, it's brilliant.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things.
Okay, this goes on to the second point. So my second point for this lens is that it is a prime. And if you don't familiar with primes, or you don't really know about them, it just means it's a fixed focal length. So this is fixed at 56mm, which I think is an 85mm equivalent. I think, don't hold me to that. But yeah, I think there's something awesome about shooting with a prime, and I think it's because the photography style with this kind of lens, you have to be very active. It's not one where you can just stand still and change your focal length to match your surroundings. You have to fit into your surroundings. And that's what I love about this lens and a prime lens. You have to move with everything around you. You can't expect it to come to you. You've got to go to it. But with that, it develops a creativity in yourself, and then you've got more opportunities to see different shots. And I don't know, I just think it really sings to being an active photographer, and that's me personally, but that's what I love about it. If you've never tried a prime, I'd highly recommend it. I think they're incredible. So that is, yes, why I love this lens. So move on to the next point. This lens, it is so sharp, crisp. When you see your pictures afterwards, you're like, ooh, it's such a sharp lens. And I remember when I first shot with it, I was like, oh my word. It is so good, so clear, such good sharpness. It's incredible. But there is a downfall with this, and the lens itself doesn't have an octave image stabilization within it. So when you're handheld, you have to keep it at least 500th of a second. If you're handheld, then you will need to put it a bit higher, that's the only thing. But the sharpness, once you get everything all matching up nicely, the sharpness is incredible, absolutely incredible. So the next point is the apertures of this lens. So yeah, you might think, oh, I won't be able to do 500th of a second shutter speed, but it goes down to f-stop 1.2. 1.2. It is so good. And even at 1.2, which I will show you some samples of in a minute, it is still really sharp. It is such a good lens. And so I'm going on about this. I've not been paid, I promise. I just love this lens. Yeah, but at 1.2, it's like, not only is the bokeh just to die for, like the actual depth of field and that milkiness and creaminess in the background is just so magical. And for me personally, I like to shoot a photography style that reflects what's in my scene, but I like to do it in a magical kind of way because I think the world is incredible and it's magical. And this lens matches my heart because the way it captures things and the way it just does it in such a soft and like ethereal way, is that the right word? That it's just magical and it captures magic, and I think my style with this lens just fit together, and that's why I've loved it for so long. But being able to shoot at 1.2 changes, just changes your whole images. It's a game changer, that's what I was trying to say. It is, it really is. And if you're ever nervous about shooting in a wide aperture, nah, give it a try. Honestly, you won't regret it. It's so good, and I've shot a lot of like images at 1.2, and yeah, it's just amazing. So that is another reason why this lens is awesome. Okay, the next point is, if you are a tactile person, I am a very hands-on person. I like feel, I like touch. This lens is that, it sings to that. Because the focus ring, as you can see, the aperture ring, it's just very like hands-on. And I think I commend Fujifilm for this in general, because all of their equipment and all of their gear, like my camera body for example, everything is made for adjusting manually. Now I never shoot in auto, I always shoot in manual. Don't know why, just always loved it. I've loved the challenge of getting your settings right and not having the camera do it for me. So if you like shooting with SLRs, which I did years ago when I was at school, yeah, if you like shooting with SLRs, I think the Fujifilm series in general, the X series, will just sing to that kind of nostalgia, because that's what they've done and they've really nailed it and it's amazing. There you go. Okay, so that sums up my opinion and review of the Fujifilm XF 56mm. And yeah, as I've said, it's versatile, it's a prime lens, it's tactile, it's sharp, it's a really, really, really good lens. And the quality of images that come out, especially when you're shooting in RAW, are just, yeah, they're just really good. The only cons I can think of with the lens, just off the top of my head, is the focal length. Obviously, as I said, it's an 85mm equivalent, I believe. But with that, you have to bear in mind that everything's like cropped in. It's almost like shooting with a telephoto. So it makes it very difficult to shoot inside. And sometimes if you've got small space, you won't always be able to get that wider image. So that is the only constraint with that lens that at times has annoyed me a little bit. But it is very good for filming on. And I've done a lot of filming with it and it's very sharp. But yeah, the only constraint I'd say is just that focal length. But you can't have everything, you can't have it all perfect. So it's give and take. But if you don't have Fujifilm, it's hard luck for you. I have no idea what is transferable between the different brands, I don't know. Personally, I just say get a Fujifilm XT3 and stick that lens on it because it's brilliant. No, but it's a good lens. I have no idea if you can get adapters on different cameras that allow you to put that lens on maybe a Sony or whatever, I don't know, a Canon. But it's worth looking into. But yeah, it's a brilliant lens and that is why it is my favourite, because I love it. But yeah, wouldn't change it. It's a great lens, you should get it. All right then, see you later. Bye-bye for now, bye.